Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. I hope. And let me check something before I do anything. Hold on. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Notice that the YT has been having some problems. I wonder if they just keep updating on maintenance while we're on here. So, hope you guys can hear me. Okay, you can. So make sure I'll be right back, guys. Gonna check something. All right, just making sure uh, the mic is. Yeah, it's right here. Anyway, though, yeah, welcome to the Topics on My Mind, the post Labor Day version of Topics on My Mind. I thought I almost had some trouble here because, like I said, it seems YouTube, and I do apologize for any lag in a moment. I'm going to try to link this up. But apparently, YouTube, I guess, along with other video sites, has been kind of doing maintenance or updates while we've been working. I don't know if maybe they haven't decided, hey, we're going to shut down for a day, or we're gonna not. You can't. Usually, what I'm trying to say is usually YouTube and sites like that would be like, hey, we got to do this and everything, so it's not going to be usable. Some features won't be usable, just so they can say, hey, we're doing some maintenance and some upgrades or whatever. But I guess they've worked it out to where it's like, well, we can do this. It just might delay people or something. I don't really know, what the case may be in that manner, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, we got several topics to talk about today, guys. Several of them right here, as you can probably hopefully see. But yeah, several topics to talk about. And I do apologize if there's any interruption, like with the phone ringing. My mom went back to work today. Oh, she's been back at work for at least the past 2 weeks, since the 23rd of August. But they haven't had no kids at that time. Instead, what's been going on is they've been training, they've been teleconferencing, video conferencing with other teachers, staff, administrators. They've been, like I said, teleconferencing, phone calling, and all that. Doing usually what they would do every other year, and that's or every other year prior, or every year prior, except for last year. Well, somewhat last year, but that was before the whole COVID situation. Uh, but basically, she, not she, but she and her. What I'm trying to say is, she and her teachers would normally go to the homes of the students that are coming back or going to be coming in for the first time, and mainly, uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Mainly, the fact is they would. Uh, I'm trying to think what I was going to say. Uh, they would mainly go to the homes, like I said, of the kids, meet with them that are coming back, meet with them that are going to be coming in for the first time. But because of COVID, you know, they couldn't do that this year, so they had to do different things, to get around that. Like they had to, um, call up, um, the parents, and if the parents came by, they would try to meet with them then and there to kind of get to know them, see what's going on, stuff like that. And I do apologize. I was trying to think about what I was going to say, but I was also thinking about the beginning of like the early portion of Toy Story 4 or a tip. Let me get some Pepsi here, guys. Hold on. But I was thinking of the early portion of Toy Story 4 that Freeform was showing yesterday. They were showing obviously a Toy Story marathon or They were doing a Labor Day marathon of a lot of Disney stuff and Pixar stuff, and we saw a little bit of Toy Story 4 after they showed Toy Story 3, and basically, long story short, you know, the last part I remember watching just before me and my mom got ready to leave because we were at my sister's yesterday was when Forky came to life, and it's just like you just see the reaction of Woody, like he's talking to the Forky, thinking how he's like how silly, me talking to a spork, and then all of a sudden you see the eye move, and then almost out of the corner of his eyes he notices it, and he's like, "What did I just see?" And then boom, he comes right to life, and it's like, "Whoa!" It's like, so yeah, we saw. That's what I was kind of thinking about. I don't know why it just came to my mind, but I was just kind of thinking about that, and my finger hit the mic there. I do apologize. But anyway, besides that, again, I don't know why that came to my mind. I think because I was thinking about my mom going back to school and having the kids back today. I guess that just integrated itself into how that happens sometimes. But anyway, like I said, my mom, usually her and her fellow teachers, they would go back to work, and they would have. Ooh, my thing hit the hit my slider here, my keyboard slider. Excuse me, my keyboard slider. I do apologize for that. If you heard that. But anyway, like I said, usually she goes and along with her teachers, and not only do they do trainings and stuff and get the classrooms in organized fashion, but also the fact that she basically, what's the word I'm looking for? She basically, along with her teachers, would go to the houses of the students, and she would basically meet with the students and see how they're doing, see if there's anything updated, like medical needs need to be addressed, like medications, what can they eat and stuff. So normally, what I was trying to get at, and again, I do apologize, uh, I just drank some Pepsi here. I woke up like a couple hours ago, and I guess I'm still kind of tired, drained from over the weekend. So I do apologize if I flabber on my words a little bit here. But anyway, though, she goes and she goes with her fellow teachers, like I said, and they usually they do trainings. Let me kind of rewind a little bit. There we go. Let's straighten this out here. 7 minutes in or 8 minutes in, I know you're thinking, what's wrong with this guy right now? Like I said, I'm still I'm still kind of feeling the effects of of Labor Day weekend, and also the fact that knowing that school is officially back in and certain breaks and everything, that my mom might call to check up on things. So she does that normally. So that's why I'm kind of flabbering on my words and what I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to say trying to get to some certain points before she calls. But anyway, to get back to what I was saying, and rewind back. There we go. Basically, long story short, the normal routine they would go through was thrown off. The normal routine that they would go through was thrown off. So they had to improvise, is what I'm trying to get at. Because like I said, normally they'd come back, they'd set up the classroom, they'd do some trainings, not just at the school where they're going to be at, but at other areas. Like when they usually meet, they'll be meeting at a different location. But because of what's been going on with COVID and all that, they had to meet basically where she's at right now. So, or at least in the building next to it. So they had to do that. And because things were changing and all that for safety reasons, and also to kind of, I guess, modernize it or upgrade it, redesign, they had to move a lot of stuff out of the building. They had to move a lot of stuff. For example, let's say a desk like this, they had to move that out of the building. A desk like this right here, they had to move that. They would have to move something like, let's say, my dresser drawer, which, if I could just turn this real quickly, they would have to move something like this, if you will. They'd have to move something like that. And I do apologize if it seems a little crooked. I do apologize. We're going to straighten that out there. There we go. But they would move something like that. They would move other stuff as well. You know, like let's say bookcases and all that, cubby holes, anything that was heavy or not so heavy, they had to move out because what was going on is they were placing new flooring in the classrooms. So basically, the kids would have something to kind of walk on and all that. As I adjust this a bit, I just making sure I adjust that. But like I said, so the kids would have something to walk on in the future. Oh, as they got back today, they would have something to walk on, if you will. So I just adjust the camera there. But like I said, they would have something to walk on, as they got back, if you will, from vacation. And normally, my mom and her fellow teachers wouldn't do this. My mom and her fellow teachers wouldn't do this, and they would have other things. Like I said, they would have trainings in the locations or trainings in other locations. They would have conferences in the location they work at or in other locations. Um, they would have a health fair. Basically, they would hold a health fair in the location, either mostly outside or something like that. And most importantly, they would do, as I was trying to mention earlier, which I do apologize for fumbling over my words. Like I said, my mom could end up calling at any time and everything. And I'm still, to check up on things, and I'm still feeling the effects of Labor Day weekend, like I'm sure a lot of us are. Um, but anyway, normally they would go and do house visitations to, uh, kind of get reacquainted with the students they had last year and the students they'll be getting this year. But unfortunately, because of that, they had to alter it. And instead, they had to end up doing, like I was saying earlier, phone calls, video conferencing, mostly with other staff and teachers, but sometimes even with the parents if the parents were able to do that, as well as they would, like I said, they would do phone calls, video conferencing, things like that. Or if the parent came over at that time to see the place to kind of, meet, with the staff and everything. If they had the opportunity, they would do it right then and there as well. But yeah, overall, like I said, her normal routine going back to work kind of got thrown off. And she was just happy to have this past weekend off. I'll tell you that. She was happy to have this past weekend. She was thrilled. She couldn't be more happier to, have 3 days off. I mean, I'll tell you this honestly. So, my second oldest sister likes to call her, and I do apologize for any lag. I'm about to go to Twitter here. But my oldest sister likes to call her every other night, right? So, basically, what happened is, well, hopefully nothing gets infected here. I'm going to take care of something real quickly. What happened is, so my mom comes back from work on last Friday, right? And my sister calls her just to see how she's doing. She does it every other day and all that. So my sister calls her, and basically, long story short, after talking to her, not so long, but just, long enough and stuff, my mom falls asleep back on the couch, which she does. She does that when she's watching, either the Golden Girls on Hallmark or she's trying to watch a movie or whatever, she'll get comfortable. She'll lay down on the couch, excuse me, and she'll get comfortable to the point that she'll fall right to sleep. And that's when I normally would try to take advantage of doing a live stream like this or just doing a video, with my regular cameras because of the fact that I know she won't, interrupt me because she's sleeping. Excuse me. Anyway, my sister, after she talks to her and everything, not that long, and then she hangs up, and then they end the conversation. My mom falls asleep on the couch. She falls asleep on there until about almost 2:45 in the morning. Then she gets up, and then she goes, gets herself in the shower, and it's not even, and it's basically, I would say, a little after 3, I would assume. I was already asleep here on my bed, but it's a little after 3 that I could assume she went and laid down in her bed. She usually puts on the TV to help her go to sleep, but she didn't do it this time because she was tired. But again, I was already on my bed, already falling asleep, and I wake up early the next day because I'm trying to probably find opportunities to do video content for this channel or whatever, or even go and get some breakfast for me and my mom at Burger King or Taco Bell or whatever I feel in the mood for that day. So my mom usually she usually gets up about 9:30, maybe 10 at the most. She usually gets up about that time. She didn't get up until almost 11. That's right, almost 11. And we're counting, the hours she slept on the couch, which was several hours, and what she slept, and the time she slept on her bed. She was out. I mean, she did say she got up earlier before that, about, I'd say 2 hours earlier, but then she just went and laid back down and she was out. So in total, she almost did what I think a lot of, teachers in her position, should do. She ended up sleeping for a total, even though it was at various times, she slept for a total of 12 hours. Yeah. And I know some teachers are going to listen to this, if they do, and they're going to be like, well, Bryan, none of us can do that if we have kids and all that. That is true. I respect that. That is true. I respect that. But here's the point. If you do have the opportunity, and let's say your husband, if you're married, is off, or your fiance, if you're living with them, is off, from work that day, that same weekend, you have them get up, take care of the kids, and let you sleep in for all the hours you need to relax your body, re-energize your body. Because I noticed that with my mom on Sunday. Now, Saturday, she was still tired even after doing that. And I'm thinking, Mom, you just slept almost 12 hours in total. You should be all right. But no, she was still tired because, again, she was feeling the effects. She was feeling the effects of the past 2 weeks. So what I did, because I noticed, no offense when I say this, I noticed that she was kind of getting in that grouchy mood. Even though she had plenty of rest, she was still tired enough to where even the slightest thing could set her off, if you will. She was just getting in a mood, right? So I decided I would go to the fall festival here in Newman. My older sister, called my mom up and said, hey, you do know there's a festival going on in your town, right? And we're like, yeah. And my mom's like, and she's like, well, you should go. We're going to go down to it. You want to go down? You want to meet us down there? And my mom's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. She was just very adamant about not doing it. And I noticed, I was like, now here's the thing, I was already thinking about going. So I figured, you know what? I know she's in a mood. I'm going to go to the Newman Festival and I'm going to do what I have to do. And I did. I walked down there. It's not that far. In fact, what I'm pointing at right here in this corner right here, you go down this direction to what's known as R Street, and it's right down there. And that was it. That was it. That was basically, how far the festival was for me to walk to. And my mom even thought the next day, oh, maybe we could have walked. Who knows? But I knew she probably wouldn't have walked it, especially in that weather. But anyway, I went down there, met with my sister, had a good time. I, drank a little bit, got a little buzzed. And then went to dinner with them at the El Capitio or El Capitrio, or whatever it's called. I can't think of it. It's nice. It's a good Mexican restaurant, really good here in town, down on Main Street. Had dinner with them. I was willing to help pay or pay for it, and they said, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And they even gave me some tokens to get some beer and all that there. And they just said you can just pay for the beer tomorrow. So I had a good time with them. They came back over with me because my sister had to use the facilities, and they visited for a little bit with my mom. After dropping me off and everything. Like I said, they visited with my mom. My dog was glad to see them because she was a puppy. When she was around them, she was born from the litter of one of my niece's dogs, and thus, of course, she's now with us. Not my niece's dog, but the puppy who is now 12 is with us. The one you've probably seen in the background of some of my videos. Anyway, she was glad to see them. And then the next day, we decided, okay, we're going to go back down there. And this time, my mom wants to go. Well, not the fact that she wants to go, but she did kind of promise or kind of say she would try to go the next day, and she did. She enjoyed it. She liked it. I'll tell you this: I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the spiral rings or something like that, the spiral potato ring fries, if you will, or was the or it was just how popular the corn dogs were. But the line to get a corn dog, and I think these were the same corn dog people that go to the Fiesta in Patterson. It went around the corner. It was like here was the line initially. Like, okay, let me give you an example. Like, here's the stand. It's like here's the stand right here. Here's where you go right in front, right? The line went from here all the way behind another stand. Another stand that was selling some ice cream kind of stuff, and right next to, almost in front of a Hawaiian barbecue stand as well. So so that's how long that was. And I got my mom a corn dog and all that, and I drank again, second day in a row I drank, and boy did I feel the effects because I think I overdid it. I don't think I can say emphatically I overdid it. And it's nothing new to me, apparently, because what I did is, and you probably hear me at the beginning of the video where I talk about I'm a little buzzed. Yeah, I was getting there. I got to the point that I took pictures I took a picture of my brother-in-law and my sister. Didn't even know I did that. My brother-in-law has a picture of me singing to a Journey song that was playing because they would play some music, not the actual band, but they would play some music to buy the time, right? And I think it was the song. It was the song "Living on a Prayer" by No, wasn't Journey. Yeah, it was Journey. It was We Built This City. We Built This City, and "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. And I was singing. I really was. So anyway, I got back home afterwards because I didn't have that much to eat, and I paid for drinking a lot because next thing I know, I'm stumbling in, going into my room, crashing on the floor, if you will, literally crashing on the floor, then going to my bathroom over here, showering and puking in the shower, and remaining in there for almost 2 hours, or an hour and a half, or something around that, hour to 2 hours almost. Because I was like, bleh, bleh, bleh. And I was just like out of it completely. And then I come back, I lay back down. My dog's pretty much worried because she did the same thing with my mom. And it's not because my mom drank or anything. It's because my mom, I think she had the COVID earlier last year. And she got worried about her because she wasn't, like feeling all good and everything. So, animals can sense that with the masters, with the humans. So me, if you will, I got up, I laid back down, I crashed, and then I got back up, took another shower, and I heaved. I dry heaved, which I've never done before, which I haven't done in a long time. I dry heaved. That's how bad it was. And look, I know it was stupid. I know, honestly, it was stupid of me to do. A lot of you are probably thinking, man, you should be glad you said, thank God you're all right. And I am. I do thank the Lord that I am fine. The thing is, though, when you don't get to drink as much as I do, I mean, I do have hard seltzers. I do have Bud Light hard seltzers, if you will. Oh, and I have a Pepsi down there too. But I do have Bud Light hard seltzers. So, and let me get that Pepsi out in exchange for this one. Put that in there. Oh. But yeah, I do have Pepsi hard seltzers to drink when I'm in the mood. But after what I've gone through yesterday, not yesterday, but on Sunday, I think I'm a little like I'm gonna back off from it a little bit. I mean, I did have what is known as a not macachito or something like that, a camaretto. It's a tomato-like drink that supposedly, if you drink it, you'll be fine, if you will. But anyway, like I said, I dry heaved a little bit, then I laid back down, and I was fine. I was fine afterwards. I got up, let my dog out because she had to go potty, and she was crying. She was like, because that's her cry to tell me I got to go out. I got to go potty. So I got up, which I'm sure she was glad to see. Oh, good, thank the Lord, my human's all right. And again, I do thank the Lord every day, in my own way that I can get up and breathe. I really do. Uh, anyway, long story short, I felt better. I don't know what it is. It's like after I let loose, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that does this at these kind of events. Uh, and hello to MLP fan Jason. Thank you for joining me in the live chat. Super chats are open, guys, if you want to donate as well. And also check out my Teespring store. The merchandise is probably below the video as you're watching it live right now. Got a variety of stuff. Even got some cups and mugs up there as well. The newest one is to support, and I'm just doing it out of my own free will, but one is to support Jacqueline Michelle on DeviantArt. You need to check out her story series there, Metamorphosized to Malleability, as well as Becoming Unlimited. These are great stories. You don't got nothing visual to support the writing, but basically when you read it, you read the story, you can visually picture what's going on in your mind. So check those out. I think you will enjoy them. And again, that's merchant. That's a cup and a mug. That's a cup, pint glass, and a mug at my Teespring store, along with some shirts and everything. I think you guys will overall enjoy. So check out the Teespring store below. Merchandise will be listed right there, if you will. Anyway, though, like I said, I felt better the next day. I mean, it's like I don't know what it is. It's like whenever I, upchuck, if you will, or dry heave, which I don't normally do, I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine the next day. I think what it is, honestly, is that like I said, I didn't balance it out right. I didn't balance out, eating as much as I should have before I left. I mean, I did eat. I ate my leftover dinner from what I had that I ordered from the restaurant on Saturday, but obviously that wasn't enough to really balance it out. And like I said, I ended up paying for it the next night, or later on that day, or that night, I should say. But thank the Lord, I'm good. I'm fine. It's not the first time I've been through it, and it probably won't be the last. But again, I do feel the effects of it at times, like I'm sure a lot of us do, and that's why I'm still kind of tired. And I think maybe I kind of bruised myself a little bit. I pulled something around here because I kind of feel something like pulling at times. So I may have pulled something, when I fell down when I crashed in my room, if you will, because of what I did. But thank the Lord, I'm fine and I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. And I think what really, really surprises my sisters all the time is, man, how is he able to survive this? And it's the grace of God that gets me through it. It's the grace of God that gets me through the days every day, and it's the grace of God that's going to help me bounce back financially very soon. For example, I've got a feeling I'm going to get a call soon for a job. I just don't know when it's going to be. But yeah, that's what I was doing this past weekend. But anyway, that's what I was doing this past Labor Day weekend, was going to the festival. Joining up with my sister and her brother, and sister and her husband, just by myself on Saturday. It was me and my mom and my sister and her husband. And then yesterday we went to my older sisters, who we were with at the festival, for a barbecue. My mom bought some ribs, which we brought some home for dinner tonight, and it was a good time. Like I said earlier, what distracted me from trying to explain to you what was going on with my mom was, and her going back to work and everything, is they were showing Toy Story. They were showing Toy Story, a marathon of it, on Freeform, and we got to like at the beginning of number 4, if you will. So it was really interesting. It was really, what I'm trying to say is, it was a really interesting weekend, if you will. And like I said, we capped it off with being at my sister's yesterday. I'll say this about my brother-in-law. I appreciate and love the fact that he tried to help me out a little bit by making this cappuccino, if you will, that tomato-like beer that Bud Light and others bring out to kind of help you out a little, balance you out. I appreciate he tried to make that, but whew, that thing was hot and spicy. Like, as the old saying goes, I'm not saying this, and I'm not trying to sound disgusting or anything, but as the old saying goes it goes in hot one way and it comes out hot the other, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, but like I said, it was an interesting weekend, and I did some nice things as well. I got my mom and my older sister and my niece, who is going to get it later. I got them some purses at over there for $5, which was really amazing. And then my mom ordered a wreath. There was this lady that makes these homemade designs here in Newman, so she made her a wreath, if you will, or she's going to make her a wreath, and then she's going to let her know when it's ready and stuff in the next um, couple of weeks. Oh, I would move out, but right now, this is the best situation. I think anybody would agree that if you and your family, whether it's your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, or your siblings, or your cousins, if you could work something out to live together, financially, and and basically let each other do what you got to do, so be it. You know what I mean? Anyway, though, that's what we did this past weekend, and just, it was overall fun. Sometimes very memorable week. It was what I'm trying to say is, it was sometimes a fun, if not memorable, weekend. Memorable sometimes, if not most, but not the best of moments. When it comes to me and anybody else that was around there. What was interesting, though, is what happened afterwards. You see, about an hour or so, I would say about 2 hours after we left the festival, there was a shooting down on Fresno Street and Main Street, here in Newman, and it involved 2 teens getting airlifted to the hospitals for injuries. It was like, what is going on here? This can't be Newman, because we have some kids that might be a little wild at times and might belong to gangs and things, but they wouldn't go this far as to risk doing a shootout in Newman, if you know what I mean. Because I know a lot of people say this about the police stations or the police officers where they live, but here in Newman, ours is almost on top of a lot of things. And as soon as they heard these little pops going off, that's when they went to that scene. And my mom, she was talking to my second oldest sister. She heard a helicopter hovering around real close, thinking, what in the world is that? And that was the reason. And then last night, when me and my mom were coming home, not even barely out of Patterson, going down Highway 33, we see 2 cop cars, parked on the side, with another car parked on the side, and cops talking to some guy on the outside of the cars. Like, they were talking to him, wondering what was going on. Obviously may have been drinking or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's basically what the weekend was like. And, again, I'm not saying me getting the way I did over the weekend, it's not gonna happen again. It might. I'm not denying that. I've said many times, I'm never gonna do this again, and I still do it. And it's not because I have an alcoholic problem. Thank the Lord, I don't. Because if I did, I'd be doing that every week. I'd be doing it. Well, not I wouldn't say every week, but I'd be doing it every day, every moment. If I had a problem, I'd be doing it, but I don't. Thank the Lord for that. I'm more of a Pepsi guy. I'm more of a Pepsi guy, and a Coke guy, and a Dr. Pepper guy, and a Gatorade guy, and a Kool-Aid guy than way before I'd be an absolute beer guy, unless I had nothing else to drink. But then I would only drink one or two a night, and that's it. And just go from there. Anyway, with that said, I know about 35, almost 36 minutes in. I do apologize, but I just wanted to let you know what was going on over this past weekend. That's one thing that a lot of people do when they do these podcasts. They always want to ask how they're doing, or they always want to talk about what they're doing before they get to the main meat of the podcast, if you will, the video live stream. And that's mainly what I did. I just spent basically 36 minutes doing that. But anyway, let's get on to the main meat. You had the appetizer, now you're going to have the meat. You're going to have the meat of the video. And the topics we're going to talk about today are 1. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, along with CM Punk, are now all elite, but for how long? Let me repeat that with the number 1. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, along with CM Punk, are now all elite. That's AEW, All Elite Wrestling, but for how long? We're going to talk about that. Number 2, what we're going to talk. Okay. Number 2, we're going to talk about why the time is most definitely now for female singers and artists, or female artists and singers, to do their own Sledgehammer music video, the Peter Gabriel one of '86, with their own song. I've talked about this before, but I figured, use the platform here of topics on my mind to talk about it as well and give more, hopefully, of an explanation. Number 3, we're going to talk about how much fun will and I say this with no offense when I say it, how much fun will a female shape-shifting animated show and movie be? I forgot to put B, but how much fun would an animated show movie of a female shapeshifter be? And again, I say that with no offense, all due respect, no offense when I talk about that. Number 4, we're going to talk about are fans rebelling against WWE by supporting AEW and other major indie feds. We'll talk about that and why that's a situation. Number 5, we're going to talk about what is the next Disney Afternoon reboot to be done by Disney. And number 6, we're going to talk about Darkwing Ducks, which is another Darkwing Duck, who's another Disney Afternoon show, or OG show, 30th anniversary being this month and this year. We're going to talk about that and more. But before then, we're going to take a little bit of a break, guys. I'm going to go make me some soup, and then I'll be back to talk about the first topic in a moment. Like I said, I'm warming up some soup right now, so I'll be right back. Because I gotta let it set as well for about 10 minutes. But I'll be back while that 10 minutes or 15 minutes is going on. That's the one thing about Kurgan machines. They're not just made for coffee. They can be utilized for tea. They can use K cups for mocha lattes or hot chocolate, or in this case, use the hot water to make hot tea or to fill up the cup of a lunch soup, if you know what I mean. Cup noodles, if you know what I'm talking about. Be right back. Oh, okay, guys, I'm back. I actually set the timer for 20 minutes. So that way it'll have time to, do its thing. But to answer your question, I have been looking. I have been applying. It's just, it's up to, the job, the job I applied to, because, they're going through a lot of applications and stuff. So it takes time to get to everybody that they potentially want in there. Um, they shouldn't have to have a problem hiring me despite what happened at my job, but we'll see. I mean, even my sisters and my niece are like that. Shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't hurt you. But I don't know. We'll see what occurs. But now that we're about 45 minutes in, and I do apologize for that, let's get on to the first topic at hand here. While I wait for my soup to completely settle in. Well, about 45 minutes in, so I do apologize. Um, like I said, you had the appetizer, now you're getting the meat of it. You're getting the full course dinner. First topic we're going to talk about is Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, along with CM Punk, are now all elite, but for how long? You see, now, well, not you see, but okay. Let me straighten out here for a second. Let me clear my thoughts. Okay, now, in case you guys have been paying attention to All Elite Wrestling, about 2 3 weeks ago, CM Punk debuted on Rampage, and actually about 3 weeks ago now, CM Punk debuted on Rampage, as in Chicago at the United Center, and basically got a hero's welcome and everything. And the question obviously was how well, not was, but one of the questions a lot of fans had, those that support AEW, support wrestling overall in general, despite what company you're a fan of, and those that don't like AEW because they feel it's just a niche company that is not long for this world or the wrestling world, if you will. Um, so make sure my mic is adjusted here. Yeah, make sure. Yeah, but basically, you know, one question a lot of folks have is how long is his contract for? Basically, how long is CM Punk's contract for when it comes to All Elite Wrestling? And even though he says he's in there full time, he's there full time. The obvious question is, well, if you're there full time, what is the length of your contract when it comes to that full timeness? And this is the same question that's going to get asked of Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riott in WWE, Adam Cole, who made his debut at All Out last Sunday, as well as Bryan Danielson, who made his debut almost immediately after Cole, at All Out on Sunday as well. Bryan Danielson being Daniel Bryan of WWE. The question obviously is, okay, if they're in it for the full-time gesture, how long are they going to be full-time? In other words, how long is a contract going to be for full-timeness? And that is a good question. That is definitely a good question. And honestly, I could see CM Punk, people like a Punk and a Daniel. Or I could see a Punk. I could see, what I'm trying to say is, I could see a CM Punk and a Bryan Danielson being there for maybe a year and a half at least. And then maybe, hanging it up or transitioning to a backstage role, maybe. I could see Danielson, honestly, and, just based off what he said, very complimentary of WWE, I could see his contract coming up within a year, if it's a year or a year and a half or whatever, and going back to WWE in a backstage role, if you will. Because honestly, you cannot tell me that it's not awkward for Danielson and for Brie Bella, his wife. It's not. You can't tell me it's not awkward for them that he's now working with AEW and she's still connected with WWE. You can't tell me it's not awkward. Now, yeah, she gets to stay at home and not have to worry about traveling as much, as Daniel does, and the schedule does allow him to be at home most of the time, except for maybe Tuesdays and except for Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and potentially Fridays. And that's actually it actually allows him to be there. Yeah, basically about Monday. It allows him to be there partially on Tuesday. It allows him to be home on Thursday, and if needed, it allows him to be home on Fridays. So it does open up the schedule because they're not doing many live events. I mean, they've been trying it out. They've been testing it out once in a while, but, they haven't been doing many live events just yet. But there's going to be a time when that opportunity is going to present itself. We all know it. We all know that's coming. But, for Danielson, it works out fine. So I'm looking at the fact that he's probably a 1 to 2 year deal, maybe a year and a half, with the possible option of resigning, or the possible option of, he's done his time there. He's helped establish, AEW as a prime time contender and someone to take seriously in the wrestling business and sports entertainment business, depending on how you look at it. That I believe he'll either transition to a backstage role there, which would be fitting for him, or I could see him transitioning to a backstage role back in WWE. Because again, what really I think grinds a lot of people's gears that don't like WWE, and we'll talk about this later on in the future, another topic, is he was very complimentary of WWE, of Vince McMahon. He said a lot of positive stuff, and a lot of people love that. There was actually a lot of fans that love the fact that, hey, here we have somebody that WWE could have kept that seemed to be a WWE lifer, and he's now in All Elite Wrestling because he wants to explore these other options that are there, as well as go through the forbidden door when the opportunity presents itself. And, he's not bitter. he's not bitter about it. I think that's a yeah. He's not bitter. He's not bitter toward. Well, basically, what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to get at is, here's a guy that, again, this was something that was really looked at in a positive way by a lot of folks, that WWE could have kept. Made the decision after he saw the tribute AEW did for Brody Lee, the former Luke Harper, and they're like, and basically that's what helped him kind of make his decision clear that he wants to try AEW. Here's somebody that could have stayed with them, but decided after he saw what they did for Brody, he's like, I got to go there, I got to try that out. Saw the talent that's available to him there, that he can go against. Saw the fact that a forbidden door is being opened to allow him to compete elsewhere while he's still with them, and something that gives him a schedule that's not so hazardous, on his health, which is pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool when you think about it. But here's the thing, and my finger just hit the mic there. I do apologize. Here's the thing, though. Again, the question is, how long is this contract going to be? Because like I was saying, if it's a year and a half, maybe two, it could lend him to transitioning into a backstage role at All Elite Wrestling, or it could allow him to either resign for another year if he chooses to, if he enjoys what's going on, or if he feels he's done all he can, he'll probably, because again, as I was trying to say, you can't tell me it's not awkward for them, in a sense, maybe not as bad as some people would say it is. You can't tell me that, he wouldn't want to probably, end his career back in WWE. It's like WWE is who made him what he is, made him, the commodity he is more so than before. You can't tell me that after having maybe a year or two run in AEW, maybe even having a run as their champion, that he's not going to want to transition over to WWE or back to WWE, maybe in a backstage role, maybe a part-time role, who knows, just to finish out his career. Because again, what I was trying to get at earlier, before I lost my train of thought there, and I do apologize. What I was trying to get at is, he was very complimentary about them, Vince and all of them, about the entire company. And I know, in a sense, that kind of grind the gears of a lot of fans that are not particularly, I should say, very fond of WWE right now. So, it obviously kind of, from their perspective, having their gears grinded wrong because of what he said, basically to them points to the fact that he's going to go back, and he might. He just might go back, but he's looking at AEW as that opportunity that is presented to him to allow him to do what he wants to do. And then once he's done that, even if after a year and a half or so, he's going to go back to WWE. And WWE is going to see, how well possibly AEW treats Daniel. And they're going to be like, you know what? We don't want to lose him again. Let's give him exactly what he asked for and more so. Let's give him the red carpet. Let's give him the world. And that might be what happens. So we'll see what they do down the line. But yeah, for Danielson, the question is, how long is his contract for? I would have to say potentially, and this is, again, as I was mentioning just moments ago, I think potentially his contract is for about, a year and a half, maybe two at the most. And I think there's a good chance he'll either resign or transition to a backstage role there, or maybe he'll decide to go back to WWE to end his career. I'm just saying. You never know. I mean, think about it this way. If you were in his shoes and you're like, well, I'm very complimentary about WWE. I know that's not going to go over with a lot of folks, especially fans. So, what do I do? Do I stay with this company knowing that some fans are still going to resent me possibly because of me being complimentary? Or do I go back to WWE and end my career there because, I have a lot to be grateful to them for? most honestly, if I was in Daniel's place, I would kind of weigh my options. Is what I would do. I would, after I get to the end of my contract with All Elite Wrestling, I would weigh my options, and I'd be like, okay, what's next? What would be the better solution for me financially and health wise? Because if there's one thing a lot of people are not very comfortable with is when Daniel was being complimentary about WWE and Vince, he said the reason Vince didn't let him do as much as he wanted, like it didn't let him go, all out, to coin a phrase, is because he didn't want him to get injured. He was very protective of him. And when obviously Vince is very protective of somebody, that shows that he, puts that person in high regard. Like, this is a guy I don't want to see get hurt. This is a guy I don't want to see end up, on the injured list, or have to be forced back into retirement like he was previously. So if I'm Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, I might consider going back to where, someone wants to keep me protected and all that. Because as I was saying, the one thing that really felt, uneasy with Daniel saying that and then saying that Tony Khan's giving him the permission to go all out, go nuts kind of deal, is they feel what TK's doing, and a lot of people call him TK for short, is he's putting him in a situation similar to Matt Hardy. Like, you're going to let Daniel do all these things, and this is a guy that's been known for having injuries that have, at one time ended his career for the short period. So what are you trying to do? End his career permanently? So if there's anything, a lot of people, whether they liked, Daniel being complimentary of WWE or not, the one thing they can both agree that was unsettling, perhaps, was the fact that the comparison between Khan and McMahon, and the fact that McMahon was protective and Khan's like, go crazy. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if Daniel does get legitimately injured, not saying he will, that maybe that's what forces his hand. Maybe that's what forces his hand to say, look, I got hurt here or nearly injured here too many times, Tony. I appreciate the opportunity you gave me over these past year and a half, 2 years, but I'm going back to WWE where it's safe. And I think that's what's probably going to happen. If I want to keep myself healthy and protective, it's probably where I'm going to go. It's probably where I'll go. But we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do with him. As far as Adam Cole goes, I think him and Ruby Soho are in the same category. I think they're going to have, depending, because a lot of people perceive AEW as a niche company. I mean, the guys that are known, and I'm going to look up their name right now. The guys that are known as Technical Work Rate Productions, they're very critical at times, if not most times, of AEW. And basically, they look at AEW as being a niche company. They're like they're part of that group of fans that some people would say are WWE fanboys, or they don't get it kind of deal. Oh, and when it comes to AEW, top work rate productions is in that camp. They're in that category to where they feel AEW is a very niche company. Like, yeah, it's got its following. Yeah, it's got some positives to it, but how long is it going to be, around for? How long is it going to last is the question. And basically, when it comes to Adam Cole and Ruby Soho, and I just touched the mic there with my finger. I do apologize. When it comes to Adam Cole and Ruby Soho, they basically do see. I'm not speaking for them, but if I was in their position, they'd probably see two individuals that are going to be with AEW till maybe the very end, perhaps. Because of the fact that Cole's friends with the Elite, with the Bucks and the Omega and all them. Ruby Soho wants a little bit more freedom, and she pretty much, on the back of her jacket when she entered as the Joker in the Casino Battle Royal, had AEW plastered on the back of it. it's like, yeah, these two could be with the company for the long haul, but we'll see what how long that could be. I mean, their contracts could be like for 2 or 3 years, who knows? Um, but if but if top but if TWR, as they call themselves, TWR was to look at it from their perspective, along with anybody else that shares the same opinions, they're probably looking at a couple of people that'll be there maybe with the company until it goes down, if you will, until it goes under from what they can see. But you know but here's the thing, we don't know if that's true or not. For all we know, Ruby Soho's contract could be for just, like, let's say like a Bryan Danielson and a CM Punk. It could be for a year and a half or maybe a year. This way she could be like, see WWE, see what they let me do in AEW. Hey, now you want me back? I'll come back, but you gotta let me have my freedom. And maybe by that time, the WWE would be like, you know what? Let's give them the freedom. Everybody's saying we're not giving them freedom. Let's give them the freedom and see what happens. And maybe that will occur. Maybe Ruby will come back. She'll see that things have changed. She'll be like, yes, I got my freedom again. She can come out and do like shoot promos and be like, you know what? I went to AEW. They gave me some great treatment. I was their champ. And I used AEW, that pathetic little company, to get back in WWE because WWE number one. You never know. You never know what could happen in the next year or so. But to me, though, I would have to say that when Top Work Rate Productions, basically gives their thoughts on AEW All Out, which they already did, I could see them probably considering Cole and Soho being with the company for at least the long haul, at least a couple of years. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. Um, we'll see what they do. Uh, but yeah, I think honestly the contracts, when it's all said and done, you know, and I'll be right back. I told you she was gonna call. Hello.
Oh, it's me. I'm on that break finally.
Yeah.
They have 9 children. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But it's fine. We gotta talk about it tomorrow they have a minimum date.
Yeah.
We'll have a little bit of a break and kind of get my kids. But I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep a journal. Yeah, something's coming in.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm on my break. What's new there?
Nothing.
No? What kind of mail did I get?
Yeah, it's just a little insurance thing, for residents of Denison County. Yeah. No. 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 Yeah.
I'll just see what I feel like doing. How's the grass look? Does it look like it's drying?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not dry looking?
No.
No? Yeah, anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking my break.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not late, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little, different kid.
Yeah.
New year.
Yeah.
I gotta see where they're coming from.
Okay.
Yeah, so what's that meeting my breaks? If I sound like I'm eating my breaks. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to call Medina tomorrow because you're supposed to have a sensor part for me.
Yeah.
I hope he waits for me to get here.
Yeah.
As soon as I get into Patterson, I'll just tell them I'm in Patterson. It's just the part I don't even have to go in the shop. You just can bring it out and put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, Brian. I want to have what time? Let's see. Okay. I clocked out at 2:20. I have a 30-minute break. So what is that?
2:36.
No. So I clocked out at 2:20.
2:50.
That's what I thought. Okay, I got 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get done here. Okay, God bless you. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay. Okay, bye. Okay, bye.
Told you guys she was gonna call.
Be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. I told you she was going to call. Told you she was going to call. She does that. It's always usually between 1:30 and 2 or 1:30 and 3. She just calls to check up on things mainly. She even did that when I used to work, if you will. I'm just checking to make sure my mic is adjusted. Right. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Just want to make sure the mic's adjusted. But yeah, I told you she was going to call. Told you she was going to call, but and I had to get my soup anyway. Had to get my soup anyway. But anyway, getting back on topic here, and again, I do apologize for the interruption. Like I said, she was going to call, and I was right. Like I said, it was between 1:30 and 2 sometimes, 1:30 and 3 sometimes. But anyway, getting back on topic again, what was I? Oh, yeah. You know, the thing is with people like TWR and all them, they'll probably look at guys like, people like Cole and Soho, and they'll probably look at them as people that could be there for the long haul, at least maybe a couple of years, at least or until, as they would project along with fans that are on the same campus then, until the company goes, gets to a certain point to where, people like Cole and Soho will be like, did we make the right decision years ago? Who knows? But yeah, it's, to me, when it comes to people like Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, and CM Punk, I could see them being full time for at least a year, year and a half, maybe 2. And I could see CM Punk transitioning to a backstage role with them as a trainer and a coach. And I could see Daniel doing the same thing, or even opting to go back to WWE to finish out his career and maybe even transition to a backstage role there. So I could see that. I could see that going either way. And as far as Cole and Soho go, I could see those two remaining with the company for the long haul, at least a couple of years until maybe, they decide, well, let's see how things are on the other side again to see if the grass has, improved, gotten greener, gotten back to what we were hoping it would be, and just go from there. Um, anyway, though, yeah, that's just my opinion on how long I think the contract status, for the Danielson and Punk and Cole and Soho are going to be with All Elite Wrestling. I think Danielson, in closing for this topic, I think Danielson and Punk are going to be a year and a half, maybe two at most, with both of them transitioning to a backstage role, maybe for AEW at the same time, or I could see Daniel being someone that's going to probably want to finish in WWE and maybe transition there because again his wife Bree works for them unless Bree gets let go, but I don't think they would let Bree go. They would have to let Nikki go at the same time, but I don't think that'll happen. And as far as Cole and Soho go, I can see them being in the company for the long haul, at least a couple of years, and then maybe if they decide to go back to WWE, maybe hopefully by then you'll have people in WWE going like, you know what, Cole, Soho, we were wrong about what we did to you guys. We're going to let you do what you want. We're going to let you say what you want. We're going to let you have the kind of matches you should have. So maybe that might be what they're going to wait for. Who knows? But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that topic. So on to the second topic, and I do apologize for this going on for the long haul. Like I said, I had a feeling my mom was going to call, and of course I gave you the appetizer earlier, which I kind of fumble my words on a little bit because I was still kind of feeling the effects of over this past weekend. But number two, we're going to go to the second topic, I should say, the number two topic. Why the time is most definitely now for female artists/singers to do their own Sledgehammer music video, the Peter Gabriel which Sledgehammer music video, you put in Peter Gabriel, you'll see what I'm talking about, with their own song. Now, you've seen me talk about on several occasions every year, and especially recently, why I believe the time is now, why over the past decade, the time is most definitely now for women, female artists, established and up and coming to do this. Now, I've seen female artists, either they've been part of a group, a duo, or whatever. They've done these kind of music videos, very creative and all that, and I think they're pretty cool. And to me, I think they kind of get the idea of what, what they can do with animation, claymation, stop motion, more so than they can do with live action. And I think with the creative geniuses of, let's say, a Sia, a Katy Perry, a Billie Eilish, if you will, and many, a Lady Gaga and many others, and a Pink, as some people would say, and some up and coming established artists, I think the time is most definitely now. I think the time is most definitely now, especially with, some people say there's still uncertainty as to what's going on. I think the time is most definitely now. Because whatever songs they could use, I think would be perfect. If it's a song, if one of those songs out there, I'll put it this way, if one of those songs out there for one of these established or up and coming female artists and singers, has lyrics to where they talk about being anything that's needed or being anything you need or whatever. A music video very similar in tone to the Sledgehammer music video by Peter Gabriel, to me, would be the absolute best solution. And again, I've noticed some over the past couple of years that seem to be coming close, or at least they get the gist of it, but it's not there yet. Like I said, they get the gist of it, but it's not there yet. What's funny is I uploaded the video I did recently talking about this onto one of the stop motion Facebook group pages, and somebody there liked it and befriended me, and then they invited me to another YouTube stop motion page because I think they like the idea that this is something that potentially could be done, and maybe it gives them an idea to get in contact with perhaps an up and coming female artist they may know of that could, that by putting them into this kind of environment could elevate them to that next level. Because a little bit of history, a little bit of trivia, Peter had some creative videos before this after he broke away from Genesis, but the moment he did Sledgehammer, that took him to the next level. And every time he had a video come out, people were wondering, okay, how can he top Sledgehammer? And he came close with Big Time. He came close with Digging in the Dirt, if you know what I mean. But, everybody was always wondering who would be the next one. Who would be the next one to try to replicate and outdo what he's done in a similar manner. And I think her name is Kieran Grins, or Kira Grins, or something like that. She did In Your Arms, and she kind of did something similar, but with jelly beans and everything, but not to an extent to where her face would always morph into something different. To me, this would be the perfect avenue. This would be the perfect, the perfect avenue, the perfect jumping off platform for an up and coming artist, and the perfect avenue and jumping off platform for an established artist to reestablish himself as not just a good singer, but as a very artistic artist as well. My finger just hit the mic there again. I do apologize, but a very artistic person as well. So to me, the opportunity is most definitely now. There's no denying that. There's no denying that. And again, to have somebody after all this time, not only like what I have to say, but invite me to another stop motion group because of the idea. I think that's, even though it may not, be something that people would consider anything serious, to me, that's like the first big step for anything like this to happen. So to me, most definitely the time is right now. To me, the time is most definitely right now because, again, there's still going to be people, even artists, that are uncertain about what's happening. And the best solution is to go, in my opinion, the way of stop motion, claymation, animation, to do a Sledgehammer-like video like Peter did. Because believe it or not, this is the 35th anniversary. This year is the 35th anniversary of that music video. So I can only imagine people wanting to pay homage to it with their own version. That's just my opinion. I mean, I know Peter once said in the music video, "Hey, good luck to anybody that tries to replicate it or top it." And here's the thing: Peter said that back when it was still fresh. It was still a fresh deal. Back in the mid to late '80s, there was the song, the video was still fresh in many ways. So when he said that, he probably had no idea. Hey, as the years and decades go on, we're going to evolve in technology, and things like this, like my video, it could be replicated a lot quicker than I could expect. So he said that not knowing at that time that things were going to evolve, and they did, and they have, and they still do. So to me, obviously, the time is most definitely right now. And if any of you in the live chat or any of you later on watching this post live stream can let me know about that. Let me know if there is any already established female artist singers that have done a video similar to Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer in their own unique way, whether it's here in the US or internationally. Let me know. Let me know down in the comments as well as in the live chat during this Topics on My Mind live stream. Eating some soup here. That's what my mom's doing right now. She's eating her lunch. She only gets a half-hour lunch. You would think here, living here in California, she get more, but that's just that's just the way things go. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, though, like I said, this is most definitely the time. And if any of you know about one, let me know down below in the comments after the live stream, as well as during the live stream, and so I can check it out and see if maybe there is identical similarities in many ways. And I know some of you are going to probably bring out one that I've already seen that pays homage, but I'm talking female singers and artists, and I say that with no offense, all due respect, no offense. So anyway, with that said, on to the number 3 topic. And the number 3 topic we have here is how much fun will and again, I say there's no offense, all due respect, no offense when I say this, but how much fun will a female shape-shifting animated show and movie be? Now, I've talked about this many times before, the potential that could be presented, if you will. Excuse me now. And I still stick by a lot of the things I've said. And with the fact that WB is planning to do a Plastic Man movie with a woman in the lead, maybe as the title character, most definitely the title character, thus making it Plastic Woman. To me, the potential is, it's there. It is there for how much fun they could have with a female shapeshifter animated movie or series. They have a lot of fun. They could have a lot of fun with this. I mean, we've seen it, in something like Teen Titans Go. We've seen it in the original Teen Titans and everything. To me, I think obviously it would be perfect. It would be a perfect show, very funny show. I mean, especially if you go the comedic route, just imagine the fun the character that has the powers will, be able to, be written into. Like maybe, there's an episode where they feel mischievous and they decide to play a trick on the friend and disguise themselves as a vase or something like that. To me, the possibilities are there. The possibilities are definitely there, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a major hit, either as a series or even a movie. Because again, with animation, you could do a lot more than you could do with regular technology or CGI. I mean, with CGI evolving every day, special effects and everything, yeah, there's no doubt you could do a lot. You could do a lot. What I'm trying to say, I just, had a brain fart there. I do apologize. But like I said, you could do a lot, and I think, people will like it either way. But with the animation, you can go all out. You can go all out here. And to me, it would work. It would definitely work. So, to me, how much fun would it be? I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it would be a lot of fun, especially in today's environment. If you're going the LGBTQ route, it'd be a lot of fun. I could see, an adult animated show with a female shapeshifter with a regular girlfriend, and the female shapeshifter decides, hey, I want to spend time with you all day. And the girlfriend's like, sure, go ahead, turn yourself into an outfit for me. And boom, she's an outfit. I could see that. I could see them doing that, and maybe even, get into a, time where, the female shapeshifter is kind of teasing her friend, and then it ends up with them kind of getting it on, if you know what I mean. But sorry about that. Trying to finish off the cup here. But anyway, I could see that. I could see, I could see the fun and the potential. Something like this could definitely have, as an animated show or movie. And I've talked about it many times before. I think the possibilities are there. I mean, if you throw in the fact that the female shapeshifter likes to turn into different inanimate objects or people, but they're still learning their powers, and and then they also have the ability to maybe, as a shapeshifter, split themselves into, different, versions of themselves. And you could have, and with the story, you could have, maybe the parents or the friends be a little worried that, hey, you might lose yourself. Again, the potential is there to really make something out of all that. So, honestly, excuse me. So honestly, I think the opportunity presents itself to be a very fun, thing for any studio to look into. So hopefully we'll get something like that. And with the Plastic Man or Plastic Woman movie that WB is still working on, perhaps, we'll get something fun out of that. And who knows, maybe the movie might be an HBO Max original. Maybe they'll decide to transition it to an animated series. We'll see. But yeah, to me, I can definitely, and I just hit the mic again, so I do apologize. But to me, I can definitely see, a show like that or a movie like that being really fun. So let me know what your thoughts are on that and everything. And we're going to move on to the fourth topic. The fourth topic being, you know, are fans rebelling against WWE by supporting AEW and other major indie feds? And this obviously, since its inception, has been a question that a lot of people have been probably asking and wondering. And I have to say, my answer to it is, excuse me there, excuse me again. But anyway, I have to say that my answer to that is yes. I really honestly think fans are rebelling against WWE by supporting AEW and major indie feds. And they're doing it not because they hate WWE, not because they hate Vince McMahon, but they're trying to send a message. And that message is, hey, you want us not to rebel against you? You don't want us to criticize you and call you out for some of the stupid stuff you do? And you want us to stop supporting companies like this full time? Then do what these guys are doing, or at least take a page out of what they're doing and try it yourself and see what happens. That's why they're rebelling. They're not rebelling out of the fact that they're just done with WWE entirely, and they're very critical. No, they're rebelling because they want WWE to get better. They're basically, by supporting All Elite Wrestling, by supporting major indie feds like PWG, like MLW, like Impact, like, from an international perspective, AAA, New Japan, and back here in the States, Ring of Honor. The only reason they are supporting them, full time, 100% mostly, is to get WWE to wake up and realize, hey, you want us back on your side? Hey, we realize you're the bigger company. There's no doubt, whether we like to admit it or not. You are the bigger company. But hey, you want us back on your side? Do what these guys are doing, or at least take a page out of what they're doing and try it yourself and see what happens. That's what this is. That's all this really is. And from my opinion, it's just a rebellion. It's just a way to wake WWE up and make them realize, hey, you need to take a page out of what AEW is doing, take a page out of what Impact's doing, take a page out of Ring of Honor, what Ring of Honor is doing, New Japan, AAA, MLW, take a page out of what they're doing and run with it and try and see what it does for you. That's all it is. It's like, okay, it's like when a teenager gets into the rebellious stage, all right? A parent or a guardian could tell that teenager not to do a certain thing, not to do a certain thing because for their own safety or protection or whatever, and they'll still do it. They'll show the rebellion by still doing it. Like, you could say, hey, I don't want that kind of music played in my house, right? If it's like a satanic, if it's music that sounds demonic, satanic, whatever you want to call it, the teenager, most times, well, not most times, but several teenagers going through a rebellious stage will be like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And they do it. They will do it. Sometimes when a teenager will try to embarrass a parent or the potential stepmother or father, in public by saying certain things, they're doing it because they're rebelling. They're not just rebelling against the parent, the biological parent, but they're doing it to rebel against potentially who could be their next stepfather or mother. And that's kind of, as strange as a comparison as that sounds, that's kind of how you have to view the fans that do this are rebelling against WWE. They're rebelling against them by supporting the competition because they want them to understand, hey, we want you to succeed. We want you to be the success you once were, but take a page out of what they're doing, and then you might get us back on your side. That's all it is. That's all it really is. So, so to me, in the long run, when you think about it, it's not the fact that fans truly hate WWE. It's the fact that they want them to get better. And if by rebelling against them and supporting AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, AAA, MLW, PWG, and all these other major indie feds, within North America and internationally, by supporting them if that's the way, if that from their point of view, if that's their way of trying to get WWE to wake up and realize, hey, maybe we do need to take a page out of what they're doing and apply it to us, then so be it. But to me, that's why fans are rebelling against WWE. It's not the fact, in my opinion, they truly hate them because they know they can put on a good product and good storylines. It's the fact that they want them to do better, and by doing better, they want them to take a page of what's going on elsewhere and apply it to what they do. And that's about it. They don't want no more of these, hey, everybody, I'm Bozo the Clown kind of stuff. They want someone like, let's say, like I mentioned earlier, they want someone like an Adam Cole. If he would have remained going like, I'm Adam Cole, baby, and we're going to have a 60-minute Iron Man match for no reason whatsoever against me. And, oh, by the way, look who they brought in from New Japan. It's Kenta. Me and Kenta, one-on-one. 60 minutes. That's what they would want. That's what they would want. And, that's just why, to me, they're rebelling against WWE. That's it. Now, will this rebelliousness continue over time? No, because as years go by, just like teenagers, as they grow up into young adults, and they look back and realize, oh man, what was I thinking? Why was I this way? Or why did I do this? Why did I do that? And they start becoming more mature and more responsible for their own actions. Hopefully, the same could be said with the rebellious fans right now of wrestling that support AEW and all these other fans. They'll still support AEW or places like AEW, but over time, they'll probably look back and go like, man, maybe I shouldn't have acted that way. Maybe I should realize that, yeah, even though, they're different they're different with their kind of style of wrestling, it's still wrestling. It's just not what other companies are doing. So to me, I think it's just a growth period right now. That's what it is, in my opinion. It's a growth period that over time you're still going to have some rebellious people, because anytime part of a rebellious group grows up and takes responsibility of their actions and looks back and goes like, man, what was I thinking? The more you take out, or the more that decides to walk away, the more come in to take their place. So you're still going to have that rebelliousness every now and then. It's just, over time, the initial rebelliousness that you have right now is not going to be there within the next couple of years. And people over time, and I say this with all due respect, no offense, people over time, wrestling fans, will realize it's just different kinds of wrestling out there. You have wrestling that's meant for the hardcore fans and all that, the indie fans, and you have wrestling that's meant for the casual fans, and that's it. So, meant for the casual fans, it's meant for a mixture of fans, casual and hardcore, but more casual. So over time, I think that's what's going to happen. But right now, the reason people are rebelling is because they want WWE to get better. They want to continue to support them because they know they have the potential. They have the means to get better, and hopefully over time, they'll do just that. And my finger just hit the mic there. I do apologize again. So, but hopefully over time they will do that. But yeah, that's just my opinion as to why fans rebel against WWE the way they do. Just my opinion, if you will. Okay. After that, let's get on to the next topic. What is the next Disney Afternoon reboot to be done by Disney? Well, we know that, I think, who is it? Seth Rogen or Seth Green is doing a Darkwing Duck show or movie. We know Rescue Rangers is getting sort of a reboot, continuation of the original, from what some sources are saying. So obviously the question is, who's next? Well, if the Rescue Ranger movie succeeds, I think obviously they're going to be the next ones to get an animated series. I think if this Darkwing thing that's going to happen succeeds, he'll get a series, maybe basically a continuation of what happened in DuckTales. So that might happen. But if I'm going to be honest, I think the next one to get a reboot is going to be Tailspin. I really do. I think, you have the seeds planted, with Molly and Kit showing up in DuckTales, the new DuckTales. So to me, it's obvious. So to me, it's only obvious that you have to do a reboot continuation. You have to take this grown-up version of these characters and continue the legacy, in my opinion. So to me, the next one outside of the Rescue Ranger and Darkwing Duck projects that are separate, their own thing right now, I think if you're going to go the same directive you did with DuckTales, I got to say honestly, it's got to be Tailspin because you've already basically planted the seeds by having a grown-up Kit and a grown-up Molly show up. So why not just go all the way with it? The same could be said, obviously, for gummy bears. You could do the same thing. They'll can, they're basically looked at, from the Ducktales perspective as these mystical protectors. Why not go with that? And kind of have it connect somewhat to the continuity and universe of Ducktales that was established. So to me, I look at the fact that Tailspin probably is the most logical outside of the separate Rangers and Darkwing Duck things going on. I think Tailspin's the most logical, and I also think, potentially for consideration, Gummy Bears could be next. Not next, but could be in that conversation as well. I mean, they did acknowledge they want to do more. They said in several interviews they want to do more like this. Like what they did with DuckTales. So the door to me is open for them to look into, to Tailspin, which they planted the seeds for already, and looking into Gummy Bears, which they planted the seeds for already. So to me, I think it makes a lot of sense. That Tailspin and Gummy Bears should be the next ones that they consider, they look into, and try to bring to life. I really do. Because again, these would be completely separate from the separate project of Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck that's going on. So yeah, that's who I think. That's what show I think should be the next one that the Disney Afternoon looks into, and that's being Tailspin, continue where you left off with DuckTales, and Gummy Bears kind of tell the story of how they connect to the world that DuckTales had established, the universe they had established, if you get my drift. All right. With that said, on to our final topic here, onto our final topic, and that is Darkwing Duck's 30th anniversary is this month. That's right. It's this year, and most importantly, it's this month. And I can tell you this, honestly, my older sister loved Darkwing Duck when he came out. It was like one of the shows she enjoyed, she loved. She got me basically both volume 1 and 2 of the DVD sets for Christmas one year, which I already had before that. So got 2 of them, 2 each, if you will. So she got me those. And then, of course, before that, I ended up getting through a mail order. Actually, was it mail order or was it at Hastings store? I can't remember. It might have been at the Hastings store. I'm not really sure. But I ended up buying the Darkly Dawns the Duck VHS, the uncut pilot, if you will, in its entirety on the VHS. I ended up buying that. And it had the stickers and everything. Actually, it was online. Yeah, it was online because it had the stickers and everything still connected to it, the trading card and everything, which was really cool. And the show overall, I thought was good. It was obviously a parody of superheroes. It took inspiration from Batman and Darkman. Let's be honest, Darkwing Duck, Darkman. I think we can put those two together. But it did take some heavy influence from Batman. But what it was, Darkwing Duck, was basically, as a lot of people pointed out, was a parody. It was a parody of the superhero genre. Because one thing a lot of people would joke about with superheroes is how much of an ego they could have. Sometimes they don't have an ego and they're just there to, do what's right, do the job and that's it, and not ask for anything in return. Disney, they decided, you know what? We're going to turn that concept on its ear. We're going to turn that concept on its ear, and we're going to make Darkwing Duck the opposite of what a superhero is. Like, he's a superhero, he does the right thing, but unlike other superheroes, like a Batman and a Superman or whatever, who don't care about the fame and the fortune, he wants to do it for the fame. He wants to do it for the fortune until he gets reality knocked upside his head. And that's a great concept. That is a great concept, if you will. So to me, with all that, you take all those elements and you merge it together into this concept of a show, you got yourself a winner. You got yourself a winner, in my opinion. And obviously, obviously Disney thought the same thing, because within the same year that the Darkwing Duck debuted on the Disney Afternoon, it debuted on ABC. Yeah. And what's interesting is both airings were looked at as separate seasons, even though they were the same, even though they came out the same year. Because you had the syndicated episodes and you had the Saturday morning episodes. And what made them different is you can kind of tell that the animation made them different. The animation was a little bit different, because it seemed that with the Saturday morning presentation of some of the Disney afternoon shows, because Darkwing Duck wasn't alone in this, the animation seemed a little bit more fluid, a little bit more brighter. And the adventures, the story seemed a little bit more fantastical, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So you had that, going on, if you will. You have basically, two areas, but again, they were treated like two different seasons. You had them treated like they were two different seasons, and it was fun. It was fun to watch, because you didn't just get Darkwing Duck Monday through Friday. You got a Monday through Saturday, except unlike, Monday through Friday on the Disney Afternoon, where you had to go into syndication and find a station that had Disney Afternoon on it to watch him. All you had to do on Saturday mornings was go to ABC. Because like I said, it wasn't the only show that did this. Goof Troop did it the year after. Aladdin did it 2 years later, if you will. 101 Dalmatians, the series, did it. Mighty Ducks did it. Gargoyles for a time did it. Gummy Bears for a time did it. This is nothing new. But this was a unique way for them to separate, I guess you could say, the seasons being shown simultaneously at the same time. And I do apologize for a little bit of a pause I just had moments ago. I was trying to think about what I was going to say. But yeah, it was an interesting concept for them to do. And it's one that I think a lot of shows should really consider doing even today in cable format, if you know what I mean. In cable format, I think they should consider it. And I think they do it, but, not as much. But overall, it was an interesting time to be a fan, because you had, like I said, you had two separate seasons on simultaneously at the same time. And you'll also tell the difference between the two, because the Saturday morning one seemed to be more fantastical, more fantasy-like, if not a bit darker at times, but a little bit more fantasy-like, compared to the, grounded at most times, Darkwing Duck episodes in syndication. And the colors were more brighter and the animation was a little bit more fluid, which obviously if you can have a show on Saturday mornings, you want to make it a little bit more presentable for the viewers. So I thought that was good. I thought that was really good. And some of the episodes they had were great. I mean, the pilot was great, uncut or not. It was good. If you will. Yeah, I'm going to get into that in a moment. Mecca from the 80s. And by the way, guys, Super Chats are on if you want to donate. And check out my Teespring store. The link you should see some advertisements below, if you will, while you're watching this. But check out my Teespring store as well. But anyway, like I said, what was I saying? Oh yeah, they had some good episodes, like Darkly Dawns the Duck, uncut or edited a bit. I thought was good. The one I liked the most, for some odd reason, because it was you didn't expect them to go this route out, was Slime Okay, You're Okay. I thought that was a good episode because, you had Garth. Because here was the thing: this episode, obviously, it aired later on because it wasn't part of any of the initial volumes that came out. But you had Goslin get mutated temporarily into this slime creature by this plant formula that Bushroot had created to try to get himself a companion. And because she got infected by it, not only did she become like a slime girl, an elastic slime girl, whatever you want to call it, but she was, of course, story wise, she was slowly losing her sanity. She, she was becoming hungrier, and by becoming hungrier and everything, she was starting to, lose a little bit more sanity and all that. And I like the fact that in that episode, she's the one that just wanted to go back to having a normal life. But Darkwing, of course, again, as we mentioned, him being a parody of superheroes, wanted to look at the ego and the fame, and then, again, reality had to hit him upside the head, if you will, to, to wake him up about what was going on, about the situation. And again, it was a fun episode. I mean, the fact that you had Gosling go all the way up to, basically get reduced to nothing more than just like a pool, if you will, that was sucked into this thing by bushroot. And, when Launchpad gets sucked in there by accident and he splashes into her, she looks at him and go like, "You friend?" Because, she doesn't know anymore. Her mind's gone. So, so it was really interesting, a really interesting concept that they did with this. And I'm hoping that if we get a Darkwing Duck series out of this reboot that Seth Green wants to do, that I think they need to revisit that. I thought that was a great episode. I thought it was a fun episode. And what's funny is you have what's his name, Cronin, who does these artworks, if you will, on DeviantArt and Patreon, of girls turning into different things, like different versions of themselves. And he had one of Gosling going back to being, as she called herself, Yucky Duck, and then Daisy from Quack Pack, the Daisy Duck from Quack Pack, because she loved the Tasty Paste, getting infected by that and becoming a Yucky Duck herself. And then, he had them fused together, merged together into one big Yucky Duck. So, you look at someone like that, and you have to really, and honestly, you have to think to yourself, wait a minute, why didn't they do that with Quack Pack anyway? They had a good character in Daisy to do it with, but obviously they didn't. But anyway, getting back on topic. Again, I thought the episode was good, and hopefully if they do a continuation of, not a continuation, but if they do a reboot series after this Darkwing Duck project of Seth's, is done, maybe they'll go back and revisit it. Who knows? Maybe they'll go back and revisit it, and I think it'd be great if they did. Now, Mecca from the 80s mentioned something that basically the original series, the original concept was it was going to be a James Bond parody called Double O Duck, which is named after an episode from the original DuckTales run where Launchpad became a super agent. He became a 00 agent. And the original series was supposed to, and the original concept was going to take inspiration from that. And basically, Launchpad was going to be the main star. He was going to be a secret agent. But when that got basically pulled, if you will, basically, you're basically given the no-go, if you will, they went with the Darkwing Duck idea, and the rest is history. The rest is history. But yeah, they had some great episodes. Like I said, Slime OK, You're OK is one of my favorites. I mean, I love the fact that when they try to, one of the first attempts they tried to restore Gosling, they basically zap her to all these little Goslings and all that and everything. So, it's fun. It's a fun episode. That's all I'm going to say on that. It's a fun episode. I like the two-part Justice Ducks, if you will. I love that. Again, it's another one of those episodes where Darkwing, in the first part, lets his ego get the best of him, and the reality knock him upside the head. And he has to go, save his friends, his allies. And, I love the part at the beginning where he's trying to get all the glory, and everybody that, accidentally helps him or basically, I would say accidentally helps him, unintentionally helps him. Basically what they do is he gets pounded up, beaten up a lot. And he always has this saying after he gets hurt in that first part, it's like, this is the most painful moment of my life. And then I think one time he even says immediately after that, when the Stegosaurus, Steggy pulls him up, he says, well, what's the second most painful? And he's like, and Darkwing's like, put out the Darkwing. It's like, oh, Jim Cummings. I'll give him credit. Did a good job there with Darkwing. And then of course Neptunia, when she does what does when she does what she does to him, and he's like, "This is the third most painful moment of my life." So it's just so funny, and it's a great series, and I wish they would have done more with it. Honestly, I really do. In fact, I think they did have plans to do a movie, but because of the failure of the DuckTales movie here, North America wise, it it just didn't fly. And honestly, I think the bombing of the move at the box office of that movie here in the States and in Canada and all that, unlike in the UK loved DuckTales the movie, but because of what happened here, again it was a no go, and it basically shelved indefinitely. Excuse me, a lot of future Disney Afternoon theatrical movie projects, for a time. I mean, the original plan was you're going to do a DuckTales movie, a Rescue Rangers movie, another one or two DuckTales movie, a Darkwing Duck movie, a Tailspin movie, I think. I think they were just going to, if things had gone the way they wanted them to, they were going to go in these different directions with, not different directions, but, they were going to go, yeah, they were going to go in these different directions, if you will, when it came to the movies. They were going to do one based on Rescue Rangers. They were going to do one based on Tailspin, like I said, one based on, more DuckTales, if you will. They might have considered doing one for Gummy Bears. Who knows? They had these plans, but because of, and as well as Darkwing, that's what I was going to say. The Darkwing one, but because of the fact that the DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp didn't do so well box office wise here in the States and internationally, not as well as they would hope, except for certain areas like the UK and other places. Again, as I mentioned, that shelved any potential ideas for future Disney Afternoon theatrical movies. And it wouldn't be until 1995, if you will, that we get another Disney Afternoon movie, Goofy, which was a Goofy movie based off Goof Troop, or at least loosely based off Goof Troop, if you will. I mean, even Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic, says, "Yeah, we're talking Goof Troop the movie, if you will." When he talked about it during his Disney December month-long review series that he does every year, he says, "Hey, we're talking about Goof Troop the movie." So, yeah, it wouldn't be until 1995 we'd get another Disney Afternoon inspired movie with Goofy movie. And then it would be another 4 years after that till we get another movie based on a series that was part of Disney for a time, and that's Doug, or called Brand Spanking New Doug, with Doug's first movie. And then a couple of years later, we got Recess School's Out, which I did see in theaters because I thought the Recess series was good, so I wanted to see the movie. And then of course you had Teacher's Pet. So what Disney obviously did is they just bided their time for a while. They're like, okay, we're going to do one once in a while and see how people react to it. And if one was okay, did decently in the box office, they came back with another one a few years later. So obviously, though, because of the original intention with the DuckTales movie, it just, didn't happen. The original intention to, be the first, stepping stone towards, I guess you could say, I wouldn't initially say cinematic universe, but kind of a cinematic universe or whatever, or a non-cinematic universe. Because of the flop of that movie, any potential plans for that to happen went out the window. They got shelved. But honestly, if they would have done a Darkwing Duck movie, that would have been a hit. That would have been a hit with folks, because Darkwing Duck was a big deal. He was still popular when Goof Troop came around, and people, from a ratings perspective, they loved Goof Troop, but they loved Darkwing Duck more. And you know what's funny? Tad Stones, who did Darkwing Duck, who did Rescue Rangers, teased the fact, and we never got it, teased the fact at the end of one episode of bringing in the Rescue Rangers. That is a fact. You know why? Because basically this is, I don't know, what is it, this helmet or something that they use to go to listen in on other realities or get zapped into other realities. And at the end of it, you see these human characters. You see these human characters that would show up every now and then to kind of give off the illusion of, Darkwing Duck's a show, but it's, in another dimension. So it was all kind of confusing at times. So you have this invention that they made that could look into other dimensions. Well, this invention they made to look into other dimensions. And at the end, or listen in as well, and at the end, you have the assistant listening in on something coming in from another dimension, and you hear Chip's voice, you hear Monterey's Jack's voice, and then you hear all the voices going, Rescue Rangers away. And the guy's like, Rescue Rangers, now that's a show that could sell. And to me, it's like, you're teasing a Rescue Rangers Darkwing Duck crossover? Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? You did it with Bonkers, in a dream state, if you will. But you did it with Bonkers. Why not Rescue Rangers? Can you imagine the viewership that episode would have got if they would have done it? A lot. And people were talking about that episode. I think that was a Saturday morning episode too. People were talking about it. They were talking about the potential of, oh my God, Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck together? Sign me up. Take my money kind of deal. But it just shows you again how popular Darkwing Duck was, with the fact that they teased the idea of the Rescue Rangers crossing over just with that. Shows how popular and how confident Disney had, the confidence, I should say, that Disney had in this show. But unfortunately, it never got the proper due it was due, the proper send off it was due, the proper conclusion. It didn't, anything like that. It didn't have any of that. But I thought it was good. I thought like anybody else, it was a good show. I'm glad they brought Darkwing Duck back. In the new DuckTales series. I like the idea that they revamped it. They revamped it to the point that you get these cliffhangers for a potential Darkwing Duck series in the future. I mean, the fact that they tell the story of the original, Darkwing Duck going mad, if you will, and being replaced and all that, and thus becoming Negaduck, if you will, as a result. And it's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable, the great job that they did there. I mean, because you still kept a little bit of the ego-ness kind of growing in Drake, in this version of Drake. Thought that was great. I love the fact that when Gosling was brought in, she wasn't just, a rebellious teenager like she is somewhat in the original, but, she's also kind of a genius. I love that. I love that they did that. So overall, Darkwing Duck, I definitely has a great legacy. And I'm glad that they brought him back for the DuckTales series. I'm glad, I think it was Seth Green and Seth Rogen is doing something with him for Disney. And I'm glad that the potential opening up for a Darkwing Duck reboot in the future. I really do. But yeah, 30 years, I'm really happy about it. I'm happy, this show still has a fan base, and can't wait to see what we get out of this. See if maybe Disney talks about more of the Darkwing Duck project that's going on, and let's just go from there with it. But anyway, though, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's post Labor Day edition of the Topics on My Mind live stream podcast. Thank you all for watching. I do apologize for the fumbling on my words a little bit earlier. Again, I'm still getting over the effects of this past weekend. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments during the post live stream. Thank you all for joining me in the live stream and commenting there. Also, check out my Teespring store. You'll see the listing for merchandise down below. I think you'll enjoy seeing what is there. And until next time, guys, take care. God bless. Like the video. And I will talk to you all later. You all have a good Tuesday afternoon and the rest of the week. And I might be back with more live streams. But until then, peace.